My name is Nicole Crocker, and I have a dual role, but I'm going to put my parent hat on today because I'm so excited about parents. Let's just give parents a hand right now. Woo! I am the president of School of the Arts PTSA, and we are just so grateful to have everyone here tonight at this board celebration. Right now, we're going to have a welcome from Commissioner Shirley Thompson.
Good evening. I repeat what Nicole said. I'm really happy to see you this evening, and I would like to bring you greetings on behalf of the Board of Education. Our President, Domingo Garcia, and our Vice President, Malik Evans, are both out of town, but we have several commissioners present, and you'll eventually see some of the seats begin to fill in up here. You've probably heard it a number of times, but I'd like you to know that at this point in time, we have a Board of Education that is really serious about parent engagement. We're working to breathe real life into that platitude that parents are important and they're the student's first teacher. So it's important to us to have you here this evening to say thank you formally and to encourage your continued participation. You have a dual role. Not only are you raising children of your own, or perhaps another family members, but you're also responsible for ensuring that the children of other parents receive an equal opportunity, fair, equitable funding, resources, a hearsay. And so you have a dual role, and we recognize that and appreciate it. And again, on behalf of the board, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here this evening.
Now we're going to have greetings from our interim superintendent, Dr. Calla.
Our schools are nothing without you. You help not only form the decision-making in our schools, but you really help form the entire atmosphere in our schools. The importance of you in each and every one of our schools cannot be underplayed at all. If we are going to succeed, it's going to be because of you. So I am pleased that you're here tonight, and I want to thank you for all of the work, because you're here from so many different groups, from so many different parent groups, that you provide so much depth and breadth to our school that without you, we would be nowhere. We're going to need your help in the future as we move forward and we venture into new areas. So you are role models for the rest of the parents. Your involvement will encourage others to be involved, and if your involvement is valued, we'll get more parents involved. So I want to make sure that for the time that I'm here, that you are highly valued and that your work with the schools has substance and real meaning. And I have now already, in the 2 months that I've been here, have seen a lot of you in a lot of different occasions. So I know you're committed, and that commitment will spread to others. All these familiar faces. So it's very good to see you. Encourage your friends to be a part, because a lot of people do not engage in schools because perhaps they don't think that you're invited or that you're wanted. Believe me, I'm telling you from my position, you are wanted, you are needed, and my goal will be to make sure that you are welcomed in every school that we have. So thank you very much for your participation.
Of course, we don't have represented here today all of the multitudes of parents who are a critical part, as Dr. Calla said, but we really wanted to take this opportunity, and the board especially, to say thank you from their heart and from their own mouth. So right now, we're going to have representatives of the Board of Education come up and say thank you in their own special way. And what we'll do is we'll have you come up in the order that you're present in the program. So I believe we'll have Commissioner Elliott.
I just cannot stress the value of parent involvement. I must say to you that here at the district, we have not done as well of a job as I would have liked for us to do in terms of embracing our parents. I think the systems have not been friendly or favorable to a lot of parents. But I'm asking you to persist, even if that means that they're going to have you arrested. I'm telling you to persist. I've heard that happen. Even if that is the case, your children are just that valuable. We never know which one of our children will have the cure for cancer, who will have the cure for AIDS, who will develop the next technological advancement. That can happen to one of your children. And so I would encourage you to let your voices be heard as a block. You all can be the most fiercest political bloc in our district. Don't let us tell you parents are not involved. When you hear someone say that, you need to come out and say that's not true, because we are here. But people tend to believe, and the papers report on it, the problem is lack of parent involvement. And I'm sure that there's some parents out there who are not involved for whatever reason. Doesn't mean that they don't love their children. We had a pre-K graduation yesterday, where we had about 25 of our 4-year-olds to graduate from preschool. We had to have had 100 parents and family members there. Absolutely overwhelming. So don't tell me that our parents are not concerned about the welfare and the education, the academic excellence of their children. They are. But you have to make sure that when people tell you that you're not involved, you have to stand up and say, oh yes, we are involved. Thank you very much.
Sooner or later, some of you as parents are going to age out of our system. Your children will graduate. Maybe you'll be between children and grandchildren. There'll be a point where your connection to the school district may temporarily fall by the wayside. And I hope that before that happens, each and every one of you will recruit someone to take your place, or 2 someones, or 3 someones. Each one teach one, and that goes for parents as well as children. When Shirley and I worked so hard at developing the parent involvement policy some years back, we had very clear goals of having a PTA or PTO in every single school. At the time, that wasn't true. There were schools that had no organized opportunity for parents to work with the school and participate. Obviously, if there's no PTA or PTO, there's no avenue for representation on the school-based planning team, which is the avenue for actually setting the policies that are going to change and improve that school. We still have a long way to go. The policy, like so many of our policies, are some of the best words put on paper. It's up to us, Shirley and myself on the board, you all in this room, and those who follow you, to turn word into deed. And all I can do is exhort you to keep on. I don't recommend that you go to jail. I think there are hundreds of ways that you can get your message across before crossing that line. After all, we do have an example to set for our children. And there are so many ways that we can exert our influence when that first try with that first contact don't work. We can take our issue to the PTA or PTO. We can take it to the next level in the supervisory chain. If the difficulty is with a teacher, take it to the house administrator, the principal. That doesn't work, take it to your board liaison. That's what we're here for. We keep track of the issues. We follow up and find out whether it was resolved satisfactorily. if we start to see patterns in the issues, and we start to develop or look at developing system changes, policy changes that will respond to the systematic or the systemic problem. Not a very exciting speech, is it? But it is what it is. You talk to us, we talk to you. You bring us the problem, we find out how far you've carried it on your own, and find out if it's time to bring some heavy weight to the issue to help you resolve it. Because yes, sometimes people individually aren't taken seriously, or they're not viewed as an issue worthy of, their problem isn't viewed as an issue worthy of a particular person's time in this organization. Well, if it's important enough to you to pursue it the first time, it's important enough to elevate it to the next level and the next level. And if the board needs to get involved, then it needs to get involved. And you need not apologize for calling your board liaison. That's what we're here for. So thank you for everything you're doing, everything that you will do, and for particularly for teaching the next set of parents that will be taking your place eventually. Thank you.
Listen, I want to thank you. I'm not going to say anything new or unique. What you do as parents makes our district a better district. I have said publicly and privately, better parents make better schools. Yes, it's wonderful to have good principals, great principals. Yes, it's a real blessing to have a wonderful superintendent. And you're really super blessed if you have some great teachers in the classroom. But nothing, absolutely positively nothing, can replace the best teacher, the best principal, the best disciplinarian that our community, that our state, that our world has ever known, which is a parent. We have got to make that clear to our friends, our families, and even our enemies, people who send children to school unprepared, not ready. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a wonderful opportunity to speak to you, and I'm going to speak the truth to you. We need more parents like you all. People talk about getting more teachers in the classroom, and I'm not an opponent to that. People talk about getting better principals in the classroom. I certainly have no problem with that. But if we had good, great, excellent parents in every home, I said this the other day, Shirley, you were there, we wouldn't need a school board. Huh? Tim, you may not want to hear it. We wouldn't need great principals if we had great parents. You can say amen to that, because that's the truth. And when we have bad parents, we need to say it. When we have parents that aren't doing a job, we need to hold them to the charge. Put the fire underneath them. And you are the people with the igniters. You are the people with the matches. You are the people that can put the fire underneath those parents that aren't educating their kids, that aren't sending their kids to pre-K, that aren't sending their kids ready to read, ready to learn. That's done by parents, not principals. And so when I talk about a parent report card, and people say, get all upset and angry, if we are going to hold the fire to our principals, our teachers, our superintendent, and our school board members, we ought to hold the fire to our parents. If we are going to hold Tim Maines accountable, we ought to hold you accountable. If you are going to say, Van White, in 3 years, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, I should be able to look at you and say, did you do what you were supposed to do? Heck, I'm going to be honest with you. You have a more moral, spiritual responsibility than I do. You may not want to hear this, but this is the truth. And this is what people have to hear, because we will get better schools. We will have better principals. We will have better teachers when we have better parents. God bless you.
Fortunately, our student rep had to leave because he had a family emergency, so I'm going to do the talking. I didn't prepare a speech, but I'm going to try to come out from my heart. I want to say thank you for being here. You all have a huge impact on your kids' lives. I know that if I didn't have my mom, I wouldn't be pushed. I wouldn't do good in school. I wouldn't be able to call myself the future. Because I know every single student, every single child is the future. We are the leaders of tomorrow. And I want to thank you for constantly pushing your kids and constantly saying, you can do this, getting their confidence level up on a rate to where they could have been brought down that day by somebody. And just running the extra mile for your kids. So I want to say thank you. And personally to my mom, I love you. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am. And the confidence level that I have would not be there. I wouldn't even be here standing making this speech right now. I love you, Mom. Thanks.
As a principal, and I represent all of the elementary building administrators. I am the president of a group called RCEL, the Rochester Council of Elementary Leadership, and all of the elementary principals and vice principals work together in RCEL. But we also regularly meet with the high school and the middle school principals, the foundation and the commencement academy, secondary school administrators. We know, as administrators, the incredible power of parents in the lives of our children. We know not only that you bring us that incredible talent, that you support us in terms of trying to be good for them, but we consider it an obligation of our schools to keep that connection with our parent community if the kids are going to get the most out of what they have in the short 6 hours they spend in school. Research is abundant about this. We have, over and over again, studies that tell us that the one factor that accounts for student success and cuts across every demographic. It doesn't make any difference about the geography, about the gender, about the socioeconomic status, regardless of any of the other factors. If parents are involved in a child's life and shows to that child that school is important, stays connected to the school, and knows what is happening in the school, so that the child knows that mom or dad are looking, or grandma, whoever is responsible, is looking at what's going on and communicating with them and encouraging them, that child is far more likely to be successful than children who do not have that kind of involvement. Schools are about learning. And as a principal, and representing and speaking for other principals in this district, I need to tell you that where we are concerned as administrators, it's about learning between teachers and parents. You need to help our teachers and our staff members learn about your children. You know things that we don't see and we don't hear, and they won't always tell us. But you can bring valuable information, not only about their history, but about the current struggles that they're having. You, as an adult, will be able to articulate far more clearly than the children what struggles they may be having, what difficulties they might have, and what needs they might have from us. Similarly, our teachers need to communicate with you. They need to help you learn what it is that our kids are trying to learn as they move through their classes, and what they can provide you to help support your children in that learning process. Every principal chairs a school-based planning team, and I will tell you that we fight vigorously to ensure that there is strong parent support and a strong parent voice on that school-based planning team, because without it, there is no counterbalance to hear the home perspective. I'm honored that tonight my own PTA membership chair and I think incoming PTA president and a member of our school-based planning team, Mrs. Stevens, is with us tonight, and I know, seeing her, that we have many more parents at School 50 who I know couldn't be here, and I'm sure that lots of other schools are in the same boat. I want you to take the message back to your colleagues, back to your peers, the other parents that you fight with and work with in your schools to help your children and to help your school. Know that principals and administrators in this district highly value your input, stand ready to support the work that you do, and want to encourage that continued learning between school and home. Thank you.
Sarah referred earlier to the fact that she wouldn't be anything without her mom, and she'd like to take a moment to express to all of you that same sentiment. Sarah DeLaws.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I could fly higher than an eagle. 'Cause you are the wind. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings.
Parents are the navigators. They are the ones that initially teach the children. Before children ever see a classroom, before they ever go into the playground, they're being taught certain things by mom or dad or both. It's vitally important for parents to recognize how important they are. They need to know that not only are they the first teachers or educators to their children, but they are the ones who the children first and foremost pattern themselves after. Because they do what they see mom do, or what they see dad do, or grandmother or granddad, and I know today they, to a vast degree, no longer want to say grandma, so they say nanny. But the fact of the matter is, children tend to do what they see the parents do first. And I would like to encourage the parents to set the example for their children, let them know that they can do it if they put their mind to it. Remember, Maslow talked about the physiological needs or the biological needs, and then he talked about safety and security, and he went on to belonging and love, because everybody wants to be loved. And then he talked about self-esteem or self-regard, and finally self-actualization. These are all of the components that people need to have in order to be successful in life. And if this is indeed going to happen, the parents are going to have to play a prominent role. Parents are pivotal. Their mannerisms, the way in which they deport themselves, the way in which they interact with others will have a lot to do with the way in which their children will grow up and respond and view life as it is. The Department of Parent and Community Involvement is a department that is concerned not only about the outer community, but the inner community, which begins in the home, and then in the schools. And of course, there are those who also have extracurricular activity. But I want to inform those of you who may not be aware and say from a reiteration perspective to those of you who are aware, the Department of Parent and Community Involvement, located at 30 Hart Street in room 119A and also room 120, along with customer service in room 122, has a genuine concern to educate parents I believe that not only parents, children should be prepared to graduate, but I believe parents should graduate as well. And so we have what is known as a parent university for parents who have not yet graduated. And of course, graduation is a new beginning, not an ending. And there are parents who may or may not have their GEDs. They can take the advantage of that opportunity as well and go on and be all that God will allow you to be. The Department of Parent and Community Involvement engages itself in mediations throughout the district, endeavoring to help bring about resolve between principals and between parents and between children and various peers. But we also work to engage parents so that they will become navigators in order that they will get involved in the mainstream of what takes place in the life of the school, become partners, and engage in the life of their children, and not just simply send the children to school so that they will one day graduate, but rather get deeply involved in the life of your child or children on an elementary level. And don't think that once they enter into the arena of high school that you can now withdraw because they're young adults. That would be a big mistake. In reality, when they reach secondary education, that becomes the most at-risk period of time throughout their entire education as it pertains to elementary and secondary. Ninth grade is a pivotal year for those of you who have done your homework. You know that if children don't pass from the 8th grade to the 9th grade, they feel left behind, and peer pressure begins to mount. And this is when parents need to say to the children, you can do it if you put your mind to it. I'm a firm believer, as I prepare to conclude, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, providing there are no mental deficiencies, God gave it the ability to achieve. If your child falls on his or her face, say to him, get back up and get back in the race. See, I'm out of the era of Dr. King, and he happened to be my hero. And so I would like to simply make it unequivocally clear that we have a fatherhood initiative area in parent and community involvement so that fathers can get involved in the life of their children as well. And then, of course, we have a parent education and training area. Davis Passmore is the one who coordinates the fatherhood initiative, but Kathy Little coordinates the parent education and training, transitioning students from high school to college. But I believe that students need to be transitioned from elementary to middle school and from middle school to high school because it's a different environment. And they need to be preempt, if you will, as to what to expect before they enter into what I call a cultural shock. Then, of course, we have Charmaine Cohens, who happens to be, would you stand, Charmaine, in our audience? She is the coordinator. Thank you. She is the coordinator of the Parent University, and she's a very, very brainy person. And I would say to Charmaine that, that you continue to do what you're doing. And let me simply say that I have a passion for children, and a passion for parents, and a passion for people. And I don't focus so much on what people are doing wrong. I focus on what they can do right. Because anybody can look at anybody and find some fault in them. But I believe in every person there is some good. And in closing, I simply want to remind you of the words of my hero, the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Because it really doesn't matter if a parent is a teacher or a plumber, if a parent is a vocational person or an occupational person, or have some other intellectual profession. The fact of the matter is everybody is somebody. God simply did not make any junk. And one of the things that King said is, and so if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, Going out and sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures. Sweep streets like Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well, yes? If you can't be a pine on the top of the hill, be a scrub in the valley. But be the best little scrub on the side of the reel. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. It isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Thank you.
I personally want to say thank everyone for being here. We really, as parents, I have two sons. I have three sons, but one is two, so he hasn't made it up the pipeline yet. My two sons are at the school. Well, one is coming from number 23 school and going to the School of the Arts. My other one is a 10th grader at the School of the Arts. And I remember very clearly as a child growing up that without my mother, forget it, going to college and, making my way through even my graduate programs, although my mother for my graduate program was there in spirit, but still constantly hearing her voice pushing me and telling me, I can do it, I can do it. So I try to do that for my children, and we wanted to take an opportunity along with the board to say thank you for doing that for your children. So your certificate reads as follows. Rochester City School District Certificate of Appreciation presented to the parents of the Rochester City School District in recognition of valuable contributions and service to the children of Rochester on this day, June 21st, the year 2007, and it's signed by the President of the Board, Domingo Garcia, and our Interim Superintendent, William Calla. All of you are truly the best of the best, and we are so grateful that you are here and that your children are with the Rochester City School District. Thank you so much for coming.